The transit of Venus between the Earth and the Sun is occurring today. It is one of the rarest astronomical events because it occurs only twice in most human lifetimes. The first contact between Venus and the Sun was at 8:15 this morning, and last contact will be at 2:45 this afternoon. In the 18th century, the transit of Venus had special historical importance for Australia. It was the reason Captain Cook voyaged to Tahiti on his landmark exploration of the east coast of the continent. Last night, in his lecture at the University of Melbourne, Dr. Bart Pindor, from the Department of Physics, explained the mechanics behind the transfer. Dr. Pindor specializes in observational cosmology and received his PhD from Princeton in 2004. He has spent the morning outside and joins us to explain the special nature of this rare event that won't happen again till 2117.
Transit of Venus occurs only when Venus is obviously between the Earth and the Sun. Because the orbit of Venus is somewhat inclined to the orbit of the Earth, it has to be sort of a special conjunction of the Earth and Venus. So it happens in pairs 8 years apart, and then normally you have to wait about 100 years for another pair of transits to occur.
Are you watching it right now on your computer?
I have been looking a bit. I'm actually in the morning. As you can see, it's quite cloudy at the moment. In the morning, we had viewing out by the athletics track, and we had a fairly good crowd, so we projected onto an image. And actually, you can also see, if you have eclipse glasses that people use to watch solar eclipse, you can actually see with your naked eye the disk of Venus.
Have you seen other planets passing like this?
So there was a previous transit of Venus in 2004, but I wasn't in Australia at the time. And the only other planet that transits the Sun is Mercury, because that's the only other planet that's interior to the Earth. But so Mercury is much smaller than Venus, so it's much harder to see.
How big does Venus look against the Sun?
Well, it's quite small. It's about 1/30th the size of the Sun. It's a black dot, and we were using a telescope to project it. So if you make the image of the Sun, about the size of say a volleyball, then Venus is very, very obvious. In fact, you can see sunspots on the Sun as well, and they don't form as sharp an image as the sort of black disk of Venus. So it stands out really sort of quite clearly.
Is Australia one of the best places to view the transit of Venus today?
It is one of the best places. I mean, the transit of Venus is essentially visible in most of the world, but Australia is one of the few places where you'll be able to see the entire transit, so both the beginning and the end of the transit. Places like Japan and China, which are on a similar longitude, will also have basically the same view as we do. The Sun is quite low at the beginning of the transit just because it's winter here. We've had good viewing conditions, except that just now it's become cloudy against the Sun, so it's quite a spectacle when the weather was cooperating.
With his long white hair, Brunswick backyard enthusiast Jim is equally excited about the passing of Venus. Jim has spent the morning outside building a telescope out of wood and glass.
That's the mirror that's to go in a reflecting telescope. Polish it with polishing compound, and 2 metre length of wood attached to a rough wooden frame to hold a 8-inch reflecting telescope mirror. Think of it like the image of a magnifying glass with light coming in and coming to a point, but it folds backwards on itself because it's a mirror. A little bit of white man magic.
Jim admits that a lot of effort goes into a simple backyard hobby.
If you decide to make it, you've got about 2 or 3 inches of reading.
No matter how much preparation they've done, university professors and backyard enthusiasts will have another 2.5 hours to enjoy the transit of Venus. The opportunity won't happen again in our lifetime. I'm Squirrel Main, Joy News.